A special thank you to my family, my parents, Mary and Tim, my sisters, Kathleen and Maggie, and to my fiance, Scarlett, for helping set up this event and supporting me now and always. My parents attended John Carroll University with me and shared their love of District 11. I'm so happy to have built a life here since 2015. Why am I running? The short answer, to serve. My grandfather served in the Navy in World War II. My great uncle was a 4-star general. We owe our eternal gratitude to those who fight for our freedoms, and we owe our veterans top-notch support when they return home. There are many more Americans who serve their country by building strong communities here in District 11 and across our nation. My whole life, I've been surrounded by people who use their skills and talents to make life better for others. Since grade school, I've been volunteering at the food pantry my mom manages. From that early age, I realized a way in which I best serve others is through my listening skills. Despite the food pantry patrons' crucial need for food, they also need to be heard without judgment. Serving my country means serving the people, and the best way I know how to serve this district is to listen. Through the opportunities available to me at John Carroll, I've listened to young people in juvenile detention centers, played basketball, ate pizza, and shared poetry with them. These young men want to live free from their past mistakes, hone new skills, and have a prosperous future. Educating 8th graders on their rights as U.S. citizens, I listen to Cleveland students who want to live free from bullying and violence. This next generation in our district is full of bright minds who are striving for better. I listen to migrants in our farmlands, as well as people in El Salvador and at the U.S.-Mexico border, where I learned from those who want to live free from violence and political unrest. These people want to provide for their families in their homelands and do good while they're here. Most people don't want to leave their home country where their families have lived, but just like any of us, they will do whatever it takes to provide for the ones they hold most dear. Beginning in 2021, while working full-time and with a bartending shift on the side, I volunteered for a Democratic candidate for mayor and a Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and got the most important job, voter contact. 5 days a week for over a year, I listened to thousands of people on their front porches, at events, and over the phone. I learned that it doesn't matter if someone is Democrat or Republican, because most people don't identify that way anyway. Across ideology, what was top of mind was the desire to live free from harm, to be safe. We can protect our Second Amendment right to bear arms, but no civilian has a need for an assault weapon. Our leaders agreed and banned assault weapons in this country from 1994 through 2004. We're all well aware of what has happened since then. These tragedies that have now been effectively acted upon in the last 20 years are one of the many reasons why I'm running for Congress. Many of the answers to the problems we face are out there. They're not always covered by those in the 24/7 news cycle, but there are people in the private and public sectors who are passionate about a topic, guns, healthcare, and have spent decades, millions, if not billions of dollars here and across the globe to answer the burning questions that we have. According to our own Department of Housing and Urban Development, ending homelessness in the United States would cost $28 billion. To put that in perspective, we have sent twice that amount to Ukraine and Israel in the past 3 years. It is vital for us to help people prosper around the globe, but we must not sacrifice the prosperity of Americans in the process. Some things seem novel today, but were top of mind before. In the 1970s, both the House and the U.S. Senate passed a bill to create a federal child care program. We had used this program during World War II to great success. It worked and provided hope to provincial families, but it was vetoed by President Nixon. There are other policies that seem impossible today, but have been proven to be achievable. Our nation, and Cleveland especially, was built on the backs of railroads. Our rail infrastructure was an economic engine to behold, and the city was growing. Today, even the mention of a nationwide train network sets off doubts and questions. We have been conditioned to believe these rail lines are no longer feasible. But in 2008, to impress the world as the host of the Olympics, China created their first high-speed rail line. And in the 16 years since, they have built 24,000 miles of rail, enough to cover the United States coast to coast 8 times, with trains that reach 220 miles an hour. Without using fossil fuels, we can reopen the level of connection across our nation, regain the image of awe Cleveland and this district held not very long ago. And at the very least, we can have an alternative to airlines, whose delays, rules, equipment malfunctions have interrupted all of our travel over the last year. Here in this Cuyahoga County, the Regional Transit Authority, in charge of District 11's buses and trains, conducted a study in 2019 to see what they could do to reach more residents and provide better service. They brought in a man named Jarrett Walker, an international consultant in public transit network design from Portland, Oregon. He found that with just 70 million more each year, the RTA could get every resident in Cuyahoga County across the county in 15 to 20 minutes. Imagine hopping onto a public transit like we do when we visit New York or DC or any nation abroad, and get from Shaker Heights' Van Aken district to catch a sunset out at Lakewood Solstice Steps in just 20 minutes without worrying about driving or parking. This, we learned, is possible for a price less than 1% of our county budget or 2% of the Cleveland City budget. In this District 11, 10 to 20% of people do not have access to a car. This small investment could transform life for not only our poorest or lowest income people among us, but also for all of us here in this district. It costs $95 for a monthly RTA pass. Less than a month of gas, less than a month of car insurance, or equivalent to parking downtown for just a few events. The cost saving available of just this one project is too great to pass up in District 11. By putting together this one perfect plan into action, we can take all gas exhaust out of our lungs, put more money back into our pockets, and rediscover our industrial roots. I'm also running to implement the simple policies, the low-hanging fruit our leaders should have taken care of a long time ago. Today, especially, is it time to remember when we should bury our power lines underneath the ground. 300,000 people are set to be without power from one storm from now and yesterday up until this weekend. It also comes to making Election Day a federal holiday and creating opt-out voter registration. Politicians and pundits talk today a lot about saving democracy. What better way to put action behind those words than to ensure everyone is free to celebrate and participate on Election Day? I'm running to tackle our nation's and our planet's biggest problems that don't seem to be discussed enough. Human trafficking, drug trafficking, and weapons trafficking make up nearly $3 trillion combined. These issues and their size make me sick. And we have to end this by using the full force of our federal, state, and local law enforcement to protect us in the future. In my family, I am the oldest sibling. Any other oldest siblings in the crowd tonight? We trailblaze. And at the least, at the beginning of our lives, we lead the way in our families. The parents are learning as we go through life. And part of our role is carving a fresh path not only for ourselves, but our younger siblings. Independents have carved a path in American politics. I am poised to take the torch and finish the independent path to DC. I see my role as your congressman to remove the obstacles so that the best ideas crafted by the brightest among us do not have to wait, but get to act. Pairing the knowledge I've garnered through my personal interactions with people from so many walks of life and the ideas I've discovered or learned, I found that I did not only want, but I needed to run. So, in that process, I had to answer the first question: can I win? When I was deciding if I should run, I found that the current congressperson won with only 30% of eligible voters picking them. In this district, according to our Board of Election, 68% of registered voters are registered independent. I want to run as what most people identify with: free from the moneyed interests and influences, working for common sense policies we can all agree on. To get on the ballot, to be here in front of you today, everyone needs to pay the same fee, but gather different amounts of signatures. The current congressperson needed 25 signatures out of 608,000 potential voters. The Republican candidate needed 50, but I needed 2,179 signatures, more than 1,000% more. I welcomed the challenge because it gave me the opportunity to go out 6 to 7 days a week for the last 18 months and meet people in the district where they were at: Edgewater Beach, parks across the district, downtown, and farmers markets, festivals celebrating diverse heritages, parades and one-on-ones in streets and yards. And through over those 6,000 interactions, I listened to what our district wants and needs. While over 6,000 of those people signed to get me on the ballot, only 2,819 of those signatures counted. That is why, for every person that came in today, we checked your voter registration. We must use the greatest gift that we have to have a say in who's making the choices that affect our lives and the lives of future generations. Because in the end, we all want the same things: to be heard, to unite as a country, to tackle the problems instead of following a party line, to listen to both sides of the aisle. I want to be a part of the governing body that doesn't distinguish between red and blue states, but rather brings people together and treats our communities, not the big donors, like royalty, like purple. We should spend less and get more and regain the feeling of being our best as a country. Enough of the getting by and more of the getting ahead. It is rare to have a politician who is independent from party politics. But as the independent, I am looking to incorporate the best that Democrats and Republicans can offer to bring about meaningful change. And I'll do what neither party is willing to do: acknowledge when the other is right and call out our own mistakes. Right now, over 100 U.S. House representatives are in campaign debt. How are they allowed to create our national budget if they cannot even balance their own books? I want to peel back the curtain and show you what exactly is happening and what can lead to change in our country. I may not be able to stop an omnibus bill from going through or from leaders threatening to shut down our government this January. But I can guarantee those tactics will say if something is not changed. Let's be that change together. Ohio is a swing state, and the country wonders, what direction will Ohio go? Let's show them that we can send a representative to Congress to be a servant to the people, not to a party. This is a chance we have now, and I am humbly asking for your support to make that happen. Because it is possible. If you, and you, and you, and your friends, and your neighbors show up. If you know other friends who would be excited about this campaign, let's meet in your backyard, and I'll answer what questions you have. Sign up for a yard sign, or chip in for someone else's. But if nothing else, I would be ecstatic to earn your vote. Recently, my team and I posted the top 10 things I love about this district, covering the Metro Parks, Playhouse Square, our institutions and shops. But the best part by far of this district is the people. The grit here is palpable. The connections that are built by members of this community span decades. And you never lose faith. It would be an honor to represent you in Congress. Thank you for being here. Live free. God bless, and God bless these United States of America.